Oh, good morning, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Happy April Wednesday. The Still having the problems in Russia with the internet blocked and Telegram blocked, and so I don't hear from Daria too often. So you got to remember there's a war going on, unfortunately. All right. So let's take a look at what's happening with our gold and silver. So right now, gold's sitting at 47.35. It was up to 47.60, and then the 10 o'clock drop, and now it's starting to back up to 47.35. Silver 77.83. I thought it was 78 a little bit ago, but again, it gets caught in the 10 o'clock drop, which is pure bullshit. So that's all we can do. This is just a buyer's guide. We can buy this very cheap. We know with all the excess option paper gold and silver tonnage versus the reality of the physical, 1,000,000 tons of silver versus what is this, 76 million. So there's 75 million tons of silver that don't exist. Totally illegal, but it keeps the price down, which is good to buy it. The 77.85 is fantasy. The price is much, much higher than that. And the same thing with the gold, 47.35. You're dealing with 200,000 tons versus 4.4 million. Again, so the 4.4 million is pricing it at 47.35. The reality is there's only 200,000 tons, so the price has to be at least 20 times higher, just doing the math. So again, this is bullshit, but it's okay. We own it. And if you do have to sell, just sell an ounce now or whatever. I was cleaning my bathroom out, and I found this on the ground. My safe had fallen, right? And I broke my key, and I went to a locksmith and got the key fixed. And I thought I had all my gold back. So this is a 1/4 ounce Credit Suisse bar. This is the only bar I have, and it's because he was out of coins at the time. You can see there it says credit. It says 1/4 ounce fine gold 9999 and serial number. So not a problem here. The back doesn't really say anything. It just says Credit Suisse. So this is the only 1/4 ounce, but I thought I had it. I thought I had counted everything after my safe fell and the key broke off. Of course, it fell on the key. Fortunately, now I got 2 keys. But anyway, that's make sure you check, and I always like to double count my gold and silver, usually for fun on the holidays, just looking at it going, yeah, okay. But so anyway, so I just made $1,400. I didn't lose $1,400. It's amazing. I spent probably 400, 500 on this, and even this bullshit price, 4,700, 5,000, somewhere in there, still. When you divide by 4, it's It's about 1,200 is 4,800. So it's worth about 1,200, maybe a little bit more. And that's now, it's going to go up. But anyway, so now I can say, look, this is what you need, physical. But I prefer coins. I prefer this over that. But this was a moment of weakness. They didn't have any coins, and he had this. And you're supposed to leave it in the pack. And I said, what the fuck for? I don't care. I'm buying gold, not, I don't care if it's uncirculated. So I ripped it out of the pack and put it there. But as you see, all my gold, I like in these hard plastics just to keep it preserved. Not that it's worried because it's indestructible, but I like it. I like it like my casino chips. I always put my casino chips in the hard plastic, and the same thing there. So anyway, so that's gold and silver for today. Again, it's the same bullshit. It's the same. Let's print options. The only thing I can think of is they want to buy more. I don't know how much is left that's available to buy, but apparently we're ending it, but there's still some out there. And that's okay. Now silver's back to 78. Any comment on my new introductory? It's mostly for new people, but I like to have that out because the other one was just for football. And I said I did technical analysis, which I've now found I can't on most of the stuff. And basically, I said the coaches and the quarterback. So just let me know if you like it, you dislike it, or whatever. I can only get feedback. I can only know by feedback. Okay, so let's look at basketball. Yesterday, Winnebago gets hurt, and so we didn't even lose it. We actually we didn't play the game. We had San Antonio minus 11, but I didn't bet it. I did lose with the Lakers over 207, which I thought was a low number. And with Kevin Durant, I told you if he played to go over, and 101.94, 195, and it was over 207. I think the playoffs are showing you these are more under games. All three games went under yesterday. Philly wins 111-97. And as I tell you, the team down 1-0 plays better. So Philly played well. Portland beat San Antonio, but Winnebago gets hurt. I thought he should have went back in. I think these concussions are ridiculous. The guy can go in. Joe Namath did a lot. Everybody did. Bradshaw, unfortunately, had a concussion every game. The Lakers do hold off Houston with Durant, so that's surprising. But I played the game over. So I got 1-1 yesterday. Okay. So let's look at today's games. Orlando at Detroit. Detroit 8.5, 218.5. Why is Detroit 8.5 point favorites? The better team is Orlando. I'm going to take this game under 218.5, and I'm going to play it for 3 units. I don't see how they're going to score. Detroit has no offense except for Richie Cunningham, and Orlando has the guy from Michigan and some other guys back, and they just destroyed Detroit. In the way these playoffs are going, I don't know if Detroit will get to 100 points, but Orlando is going for the sweep. Most teams on the road try to split the first 2 games, and they've already won the first one. But I think they're out for blood with the new players in Detroit. I don't know if they'll win a game. They haven't won a playoff game in a long time. and they don't have the team to do it. You need a good defense and you need a star, and they don't have either. They have a good regular season defense, but at the end of the day, Orlando just lit them up. All they do is shoot 3-pointers, Detroit. And then Richie Cunningham, okay, he slides in. He doesn't pass the ball. It'd be like Isaiah Thomas getting 35 points. They probably lose because he's got to pass the ball, and there's really nobody to pass it to. It's a pretty weak team. They got lucky with and a very easy schedule in the East because Boston was hurt, and Milwaukee got hurt, and Miami was hurt, and Orlando was hurt. And all these teams were injured, so they're beating. It was like the Lions; they beat the weak teams, but when they played the strong teams, they played Oklahoma, they killed them. San Antonio killed them. Denver, I mean, they can't compete with those teams. So Detroit, there's no way they're beating Boston, and I don't think they're going to beat Orlando. I think you're kind of taken in by the 1 seed versus Orlando's the 8 seed, but no, that. If anything, I'd say Boston's the 1 seed, maybe Cleveland's the 2, Orlando's probably the 3 seed, and Detroit's probably the 5 or 6 seed. So if you looked at it from that, you'd go, wow, I got the 2 seed or the 3 seed getting 8.5. Now it's a do or die game for the Pistons. They go down 2-0. They'll probably lose both games in Orlando to be all over. So we'll see. I don't know that they are tough enough. I don't think they have the right coach. I don't think one player, Richie Cunningham, can do anything. Their other guy, their center, who's supposedly pretty good until he gets into the playoffs. They're just not there. So I just don't smell what they're cooking. I don't see. It's like making Andre the Giant 8.5-point dogs against the Hulkster. No, he's not losing. So Orlando, if they do lose, it'll be a close game, but it should be a low-scoring game. So I like the under, and I like Orlando, but I'm going to take the under 218.5, 3 units. There's only one other game. We got Phoenix going to Oklahoma, and the Sooner Boomers all over the place. Oklahoma 17.5. It's such a big number. I can't play it, but 215. So I'm going to go under 215.5, and I'll go 2 units. We saw them explode, but Phoenix didn't score. They're not going to score against Oklahoma, especially at Oklahoma. So I like Oklahoma here under also. I like how do you lay 17.5 points in a playoff game? So I can't do that, especially what happened yesterday with Miami winning and Boston and Philadelphia winning. The big surprise, Minnesota beat Denver, and the big surprise was the Lakers beating Houston. Big surprise there. Now, Durant's not a very good player. He's a good scorer. He's George Gervin. He's George Trapp, who used to play on the Pistons. Instant heat, they call him. Good offensive player, doesn't play defense. So I assume LeBron just posted up, and of course they're not going to call a foul on LeBron. And so as long as you have him, even without Luka Brasi, the Lakers win. But you can see the scores are down. So I'm going to go under here. I think Oklahoma gets 110 to 90 or something like that. So it'll be around 20-point win. I think Oklahoma sweeps them here. I really don't see Phoenix being able to beat this team. Too much power for Oklahoma. See, that's a 1 seed. Detroit's not a 1 seed by any stretch of the imagination. Pistons primed to get back to winning formula. Bullshit. There's a matchup problem, and they can't. They don't have the players. They don't have the coach. They don't have the defense. Oh, they had a good regular season defense. Yeah, but this Orlando team wasn't in the regular season with Faulkner from Michigan and these other guys that came back. This is a whole different team. Like Boston, they had Jack Tatum and Brown the whole year. They would have been the 1 seed by 10 games. So Detroit winning 60 games is just like the Lions winning, going 15-2, and then oops, we lost to Washington. And if they didn't, they were going to get killed by Philadelphia. So it really didn't matter. They're a fraud team. They just don't understand. It's the defense that wins these things. If I can shut you out, I can't lose. I'll eventually get, some points, and you're not going to score because my defense is going to shut you down. That's what Philly did. That's what they did to Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Last year, Seattle took the thing. So we'll see how good Seattle is without Kenneth Walker, and then we're going to see the real Sam Darnold, who's not very good, but he's better. But again, now you got to replace Kenneth Walker. All right, so that be basketball, and let's look at the baseball. I have one lock going in baseball today. I will tell you now. That is the Yankees under. Where am I going? So I was looking at the pitching matchups. The Mets lose the 12th straight, so we won with Minnesota. So let's go through our scores from yesterday. A decent day. Plus 5 units. So Cleveland wins 8-5. We have Cleveland minus 140 for 2 units. Houston is in trouble. They're just playing bad. Milwaukee 12, the Tigers 4. I don't know what happens in this game. It was 3-0, and I'm going to stay under, and then 12-4. Milwaukee, I had it under 8 with the pitchers. Let's see, Milwaukee, what did they So it's 3-0 in the second and 3-1 in the fourth. I can still get my under. And then 2 in the seventh, 7 runs in the 8th inning. And the Tigers, of course, they always are too little too late. They always score in the 9th inning. I've never seen a team like this. They score in the 9th, but they're down 10 runs, and then they start scoring. Who is pitching this? Harrison pitched 3 innings with a 3.0 ERA, and that's where it gets. And then in the 9th, Wolford comes in with a 6 ERA and gives up 3 runs. And if we look at Detroit, Montero comes in, pitches 5 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3.68. Not a very good pitcher. De Jesus comes in, pitches an inning and a third, gives up 7 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks. He's got a 10 ERA, and there you go. This guy comes in. Really, it was the 7th inning. Sebald, they think he's good with a 4.22 ERA, and then Roger. I think he's the catcher. This Rogers guy. Because they have a Rogers who's a catcher, and I'm not aware they have 2 Rogers on the team. Pitched 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, got a 0 ERA because it's the first thing. So you got a guy with a 10 ERA and a 4 ERA. So they got weak pitching, except for they have the closer. When they're winning in the 9th, he'll come in, but otherwise he sits and watches on the bench. The Tigers, let's see how many hitters they got. Leadoff hitter hitting 217. The backup comes in, hits 217. The center fielder's hitting .71. The second baseman's hitting 244. The rookie shortstop's hitting 322. That'll go down to 222 soon. 238. The right fielder, a 264 hitter is their catcher. 265 hitters, Ricky Green. 186 is Torkelson. He's terrible. I don't know why he's in the major leagues. He cannot. The best he's done is 210. Here's a 186 with 2 strikeouts. Oh, but he got his walk. I love that, but it never delivers an RBI. Then I got a 214 hitter, and then Happy Baez is hitting 279, and this Colt Keith hits 309, but he didn't play because the manager's got his head up his ass. So I don't like this leadoff hitter, Jeremiah Jones. He's hitting 270. He was hitting 0. So anyway, and we talked about the pitching. So big 7-run inning killed the under. Go Tigers. We've got the Cardinals winning 5-3. We have the Cardinals over 8, so it's a push. The Reds 12-6. We got the Reds under 7. Again, it's when they pull the pitchers. They pitch 3, 4, 5 innings. The Yankees win 4-0. We have the Yankees for 2 units. We have Washington 11, Atlanta 4. We did have Atlanta 2 units. They lost. The Twins, that was our 2 units as the Mets are on a 12-game losing streak. So again, we play them. We play Minnesota. We play whoever the Mets are playing, basically. And the pitching matchup wasn't great, but we still bet them, and they still win 5-3. Baltimore 6-5. We have Baltimore. KC wins 6-5. We had Baltimore. They lost. The Cubbies, that was our lock, 4-star lock. They win 7-4 over the Phillies. Zach Wheeler set for debut on Saturday. Well, that'll help. And then we got Texas 5-1 over Pitt. I didn't even play that game. San Diego 1-0 against Colorado. I didn't play that. I was conservative. Look at Colorado, another low scoring. The total on this game was 11. I don't know where they're getting 11 from. Colorado is playing very well and holding the teams down. This was in Colorado, 1-0. Toronto 4-2 against California. I thought I had Toronto. I don't see them. Toronto wins 4-2. Oakland 5, Seattle 2. I'm over 7, and it's a push. Chicago 11, Arizona 5. I have Arizona. They lose. They had a good pitcher, and the White Sox they don't have a guy hitting 200, gets 11 runs. And the 49ers under 7.5 against the Dodgers. Their ace was going. They win 3-1. I'm going to write this giant aces down because you're not scoring on this guy. This guy's unbelievable. What's his name? Rupp, 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 2.28 ERA. I don't know that he's the guy. Maybe it is. I thought it was somebody else with like a 1 ERA. Anyway, pretty dominant. But again, it's 5 innings. What is this with Shotani? It's on base, like the game's on base. Who gives a fuck? It's 56-game hitting streak, not walking 56 times because they're not want to pitch to you. So he's hitting a big 271. What a great player he is. Yamamoto, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. He's got a 2.48. So I don't know who their big pitcher is on LA. So we look at it. We get a push in Seattle. We lose Baltimore. We win Minnesota. We win the big one on the Cubbies. We lose Atlanta. We win the Yankees. Milwaukee under 8. We win. St. Louis over 8. We push. And Cleveland we win. So 2 units, even, 2 units, even, 4 units, even. So it's +4. I thought it was +5, +4 units. And I go 5-3 with 2 ties. How do you tie in baseball? All right, let's look at today's action. So streaks. I already looked at it, but I think there's bet against Philly, bet against the Mets are the things. Kansas City. Let's see. Yankees on a 4-game winning streak. They're playing Boston today. And that's going to be your lock. California is on a 4-game losing streak. In the National League. So KC streaks ended. Yeah, they won yesterday. That's why we bet them. Philly's on a 7-game losing streak, and the Mets are on a 12-game losing streak. So we're going to unload on those two, against those two. Cincinnati's on a 5-game winning streak. The Cubbies are on a 7-game winning streak. And nothing there. Atlanta's ended. Okay, Atlanta lost. So we're done with Atlanta. We still have the Cubs, Cincinnati, and now the Yankees. And on the other side, we got Philly and the Mets and major losing streaks. We're going to pound them pretty good today. And that's what makes time travel possible. When you pound the opportunity, that's what you're looking for. It shows itself. So I think the Mets blew the game late in the game, like they did before. They were up 1-0 and lost 2-1 to the Cubs on Saturday or Sunday, and here they had the lead. I go, okay, I'm going to lose. And I didn't lose because their reliever sucks. Okay, let's look at today's game. So, April 22nd, first day of spring, I think, isn't it? Yeah, maybe not. Who cares? All right. We got St. Louis at, Jesus Christ, 12:10. So you got a half hour in this game. Lehigh, Miami minus 135, 8.5. Lehigh with a 5.21 ERA goes against Junk, 4.5. I'd say we got to go over 8.5 here. Let's take St. Louis over 8.5. I'm going to go 2 units. Houston against Cleveland. Houston is not playing well, but Altuve's back. Cleveland minus 148, 8.5. We got Lambert, a 7.20 against Bibby, a 4.88 in Cleveland. I'm going to go Cleveland over 8.5. We'll go 2 units. Bad pitching. The thing is, though, the pitcher only goes 3 or 4 innings, so you're basing the bet on the pitcher doing like 7 innings, giving up like 5 runs, and then after 3 runs, they go to 18 bullpen guys. So it's a real great strategy these managers have. One's dumber than the next. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, is this AI?
Yes, hi. This is Ashley, sir, calling from the First Class Travel. How are you?
Yeah, okay. I don't speak to AI. Could you understand where they're calling from the first something? Okay. No, I was expecting Alyssa. That's why I took the call. And she can't use her phone, so she's using her friends. All right. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay minus 131, 8.5. Williamson with the 4.50 ERA goes against Martinez with the 2.45. I have no interest there. Do I have? No. Oh, wait. No, I do have interest. Cincinnati is on a hot streak. So we'll play Cincinnati, 2 units, and they're plus 121. Not crazy about them, but we'll play them. Baltimore's got KC. KC won yesterday. Bassett for Baltimore, 6.19. He sucks against Waka. Well, I'm taking Waka here. KC minus 129, 2 units with Waka. They are minus 129, 9.5. We've got Toronto against California. Toronto won yesterday on the West Coast. We've got California minus 144 and 8.5. We've got Lauer for Toronto, 8.25 against Soriano with a 0.28. Nobody has a 0.28. Game logs. He's pitched 5 games. And he goes 6 innings, 8, 7, and 5. This guy's just given up 2 hits. Wow. 2 hits, 2 hits, 3 hits, 2, 2, and he gave up 1 run. He does have a .28. Who is this guy? Soriano. Let's mark him down. 5 games, and the most he's given up was 1 on California. So I'm taking California with this guy. Jesus. And against Lauer. So this is California minus 144. I'm going to go 3 units on this. They're not going to hit this guy. Holy shit. This is a perfect matchup going against Lauer with an 8.25 ERA. So you're not going to score on me, and I'm going to have a field day scoring on you. Oakland against Seattle. Seattle minus 177, 7.5. We got Chevalier for Oakland, a 3.60 ERA against Gilbert with a 4. This should be an over, but they're not really scoring yet. So we'll keep an eye on it. We like it over, but no bet. Seattle over 7.5, but I'm not going to bet it. We got Milwaukee, Detroit. We got Patrick from Milwaukee, a 1.12 ERA against Casey Mize, 2.86. Detroit minus 1.29. 7.5. Problem is that the Tiger bullpen sucks. So if we're betting it under and it's 2-0 going into the 7th, Katie bar the door, they're going to give up 7-8 runs. This is the problem playing minor league pitchers in your bullpen and playing to the bullpen instead of the starters. This is why Skubal has to pitch 8 innings and then go to your ace reliever, Hensley, in the 9th. Then it saves your bullpen because you have shit in your bullpen. And when you let Struble go 5 innings and then you don't see him again for 5 days, think of Moneyball in reverse. What was the key to Moneyball? Well, we're going to walk and hit foul balls and get to the 9th and 10th and 11th pitchers in the series because they'll all throw their arms out. But what you're doing is it in reverse. Well, we'll let Skubal go 5 innings and then we'll bring in our bullpen. 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll wear out our own bullpen by letting this guy only pitch 5 innings. He's got to pitch 8 innings, at least. Every outing, he had a good outing. He's given up 1 run. You got to go 8 innings, buddy. I don't care if I throw your arm out. You're fucking leaving anyway. Nobody's going to pay you $40 million. So if you're going to play, you're playing 8 innings. In my world, he doesn't play at all. He's at the grocery store. Go work at Kroger's, and then we'll trade you. And at least we know your arm will be healthy. All right. So Detroit minus. So let's look at this Patrick guy. 1.12 ERA. Is this guy for real? He's played 4 games, 4 innings, 5 innings, 3 innings, 6 innings. I don't know why they pull him. He must have been injured. They lose 7-3. But in the game against Washington, he only pitched 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, but no runs. 5 hits, 1 run in his first one against the White Sox. Then he 4-hit shutout against KC, a 3-hit shutout against Washington, and then a 3-hit gave up a run to Toronto, but he pitched 6 innings. Meanwhile, Casey Mize, I don't know, 2.86 ERA, maybe that's real. 7.5 seems low. The Tigers seem to not hit. This Patrick will go 5 innings, and then we get to the bullpen. It's a tough one to go under 7.5. It's tough to go Casey Mize because Detroit can only hit in the 9th inning when they're down 7-8 runs. Then they score 3 or 4 like they've done the last 2 games. Detroit plays better at home. Mize, decent pitcher. We don't know really this Patrick. I'm going to pass on it because if I go under, Detroit's going to score 7 runs. If I go over, Detroit will score 1 run. So I'm leaving this alone. They're too inconsistent. All right, here's our lock. The Yankees go to Boston. The Yankees are 127, 7.5. How is this so high, 7.5? And you'll understand when I say it. We got Max Fried, 3.0 ERA, but we know he's an ace, against Ranger Suarez with his 3.27 ERA, which was a bad first game. This is your lock. Oh, Yankees under 7.5. We're going 5 units on it. Now, the play is the Yankees. They are on a streak, but I'm not fucking with Ranger Suarez in Boston. Thank you, no. I didn't know how he'd be, but he looks really good. His last couple games, he's Ranger Suarez again. So he shut out the Tigers for 10 innings. Well, they lost 1-0 in 10 innings, but he pitched 7, 8 innings, shutout ball. So he's back. The Yankees, they might score a few runs with Aaron Judge, but you're not hitting Ranger Suarez and you're not hitting Max Fried. Believe me, there was a high-scoring game with Max Fried, but it wasn't his fault. They went to the bullpen. He'll shut him out. This will be a very low. This will be 1-0 into the 8th, and then we hope the bullpen holds it. But this is what you're looking for, ace versus ace. And both these guys are better than Scooble. All right, Atlanta, Washington. Atlanta minus 140, 129. No, we're looking for, Cincinnati we played. The Yankees we're going to go under. The Cubbies are our next bet. They got Philadelphia, and whoever's playing the Mets, that's Minnesota. So we're going to pencil in Minnesota. We're going to pencil in the Cubbies. Those are our streak boys. Atlanta, Washington. Atlanta minus 140, 8.5. We've got Fuentes, 0 ERA against Zach Littell, 7.71. I'm going Atlanta. I'm going minus 140, and that's 2 units. The Mets. The Mets are minus 151. Oh, my God. We've got minus 151.7. They got Clay Holmes with the 2 ERA against Prelip with the 0 ERA, but he probably is a bullpen guy, or I never heard of the guy. Let's take a look who he is with the 0 ERA. He hasn't pitched in 26. So it's a new pitcher. But I think me and you could go out and beat the Mets. Bobby, you need to go back on the Mets. They can't win. This is purely a streak play. We're going to go the Minnesota plus 139. We'll go 3 units. Again, they've lost 11 in a row, which is what makes time travel possible. That's what we want. Philly and the Cubs. Philly on a losing streak. Cubs on a winning streak. We got Backus for Philadelphia. Who knows who that is? Matthew Boyd with the 7 ERA. And the Cubs are 160 and 7.5. We're going Cubbies 160. And this will be 3 units also against Philly. Again, betting the streak. The game's in the Cubs. Yeah, Philly they don't hit. They can't pitch. The Cubbies have enough, and we'll keep going. We'll see how long they will keep their losing streak going. But as long as Red's hitting the roulette wheel, we keep betting Red. We don't bet Black. Black is never due. So to say Philadelphia is due, no, doesn't work that way. All right. Pittsburgh minus 110. This is a nice Super Bowl game. We got the Steelers at the Cowboys. Steelers 110, 8.5. We got Ashcraft with the 2.45 for Pitt against Leiter with the 4.95. I don't know. I'm trying to get my thing on how good they hit. So we're going to leave this alone. I do like Pitt, but I'm not going to play him. Pitt minus 110. San Diego goes to, so this is San Diego, Denver. We got San Diego minus 146 and 12.5. And as I said, Colorado is different. They're not scoring. They're not giving up a lot of runs. This is much more of a low scoring team. Ferris Bueller for San Diego with the 4.76 ERA against Sugano with the 4.05, who's pretty bad. I can see why the 12.5. I don't know. I'm going to leave this alone, but I'll circle Colorado under 12.5. just because they're not. They played the Dodgers to very low scoring games, and they can hit. So Colorado, I've been noticing, they played the Yankees, and it was like 2-1. So they are not. This is not a 12.5. I'm going to play it for 2 units. Fuck it. I've talked myself into that one. I don't get why it's 12.5. This is not the same. Oh, well, they're in Colorado. Yeah, but there's still. Yesterday was what, a 1-0, 2-1 game with San Diego. The White Sox in Arizona. The White Sox won yesterday. Arizona 148, 9.5. AK for the White Sox at the 1.80 ERA against A. Rodriguez with a 196. Why is this total 9.5, Batman? This is like the Riddler. Okay, but I'm gonna make the spread 9.5. You're like, what the fuck? So let's look at Anthony K. 3 innings. Okay, and he's still giving up 3 innings, 2 runs, 3 innings, 2 runs, 4 innings, 1 run. I'm sorry. This is like a 3.5, 4 ERA, not a 1.8. That ERA is incorrect. You give up 3 runs in 3 innings, you have a 9 ERA. So bullshit there. A. Rodriguez, and he's pitched. He started 4 games, 23. Okay, so he's a starter. 1.96 ERA. The last 2 years, 5 ERA. Oh, he was on Detroit. That's this guy with the 4 ERA. So he's not very good. But they're not showing the right Rodriguez. This is Adrian Rodriguez. They're showing Eduardo Rodriguez. Adrian Rodriguez. They're showing him batting. So this is fucked up. So I don't know who this guy is. I don't know that it's correct. So I'm going to leave this alone because I don't have proper stats. And our last game, the Dodgers play the Niners. This is the Rams and the 49ers. Good game. We got the Dodgers 205, 7.5. We got Shotani with a 0.5 ERA, which I question. Does he go more than 5 innings? This is a mess because it's got his hitting log. Okay, game logs. They're showing his pitching logs. He started 3 games. He's pitched 18 innings, so he goes 6 innings a game with a 0.5 ERA. 7 hits, 2 runs in 18 innings. 2.87 ERA. Last year he didn't pitch. A 3.14, 2.33. He had a 37 ERA in 2020. So he's not that great of a pitcher. Just because he pitches doesn't mean he's a good pitcher. So it's more of a struggle because they're more worried about his hitting. This guy should be an outfielder. He should not be a pitcher. So there's no way he's got a 4.5 ERA. Mail for the Niners, 7.5. I'm going to go over here. The 49ers won yesterday, 2-1. I think the Dodgers, I'd take the Dodgers, but they're laying 205. That's ridiculous. Let's go San Francisco over 7.5. We'll go 2 units on it. Keeps us up, the night game on the West Coast. Always love those. And that be our baseball, everybody. So let's go through the game. St. Louis over 8.5, 2 units. Cleveland over 8.5, 2 units. Cincinnati plus 121, 2 units. That's a streak play. Kansas City minus 129, 2 units. California minus 144, 3 units. Seattle over 7.5, no bet. The Yankees are lock of the day, under 7.5, 5 units. Freed against Ranger Suarez. first one to 2 wins. Minnesota, that's the streak play. Minnesota plus 139, 3 units. We're betting against the Mets. The Cubbies minus 160, 3 units. That's the streak play. They're on a hot streak. Phillies lost 7 in a row. And Atlanta minus 140, 2 units. Colorado under 12 and a half, 2 units. The 49ers over 7 and a half, 2 units. And Pittsburgh, but no bet. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 bets. Now, I don't expect to go 11 and 0, but the problem solving that goes in, it should go 11 and 0 if everything goes the way it should. The weak pitcher gives up the 4 runs he's supposed to in the overs. The Mets keep losing. The Phillies keep winning. Cincinnati keeps winning. The Yankees and Ranger Suarez play a 2-1 game, as they should, and that's what you're anticipating. This is the expected outcome of these games, and I can find 11 of them to bet. Yesterday was I had 8 of them. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 9, but I had 2 pushes. So that's what you're looking at. So there you go. In the NBA, we're going under with both games as the defense is tightening up. The 3-point shots are choking. I can only watch a few minutes of these games because what happens is it ends up where they're just taking 3-point shots. And when they do drive the lane, they're getting hammered and the ref's not calling a foul. They're hitting them with the body and the refs are just, the guy's on the ground. Well, no foul. I think every sport's going for the worst refs they've ever had. Basketball is certainly terrible. Let's have the woman ref. Yeah, we need her because she's played pro basketball. So terrible roughing, but they go up the court, they take a 3-point shot from half court and it misses, and the other team takes it, then you get once in a while a fast break. That's exciting, but it's too not often enough. Too little, too late. I don't know any of the players except for Winnebago and Luca Brasi, who I've never seen play. I hate LeBron, which doesn't help. And, and I enjoy watching the Pistons lose if they're even on. Are they on TV today? Detroit's on Brew TV, whatever the hell that is. Let's see. So I want to watch the Pistons tonight, but they're on ESPN. Oh, well, don't have that. Now, when I move, I'm going to have Xfinity, not Spectre. Maybe I get ESPN on Xfinity. But the Pistons are primed to get back. If that doesn't sound like a setup, so everybody bets the Pistons, Orlando wins, and Vegas cleans up. So you got to be careful when you get these subtle little tips. It's done on purpose to lose you money. So neither game's on TV. All right. There was a thing. Anyway, so let me. So I was watching EGON. And I want to show you this. Now, it's the same thing we always talk about with EGON, but there was a point in it that I want to point out. So basically, everything we already know. So there's nothing new here, except I want to explain this one area with the host. All right. She asks Egon, well, why does the dollar fail? Or why can't we just keep printing money and printing money and printing money? Why do we care about that? And Egon he doesn't really understand the answer. He gives a bad answer. I'm going to give you the real answer. But I was like, I thought he would know this. He knows the dollar printed goes to zero. He knows too much debt. He's around the edges, but I'm going to nail that question. So here's Egon in an interview explaining what he always explains, that I always show you, that it's nothing new. It's just he's got a different host who wants to get ratings talking about. So the title is Financial Collapse is Inevitable Since Egon. Well, we know it because they can't print money because the money goes to zero, but it has no value. But he doesn't answer that.
It was staggering. You just mentioned the word quadrillion. Can't we just keep making up new numbers and adding zeros and keeping the currency, keeping the circus going ad infinitum? Was staggering. You just mentioned the word quadrillion. Can't we just keep making up new numbers and adding zeros and keeping the currency, keeping the circus going ad infinitum?
Well, there has been no period in history where people have survived just by printing money or increasing the debt. It always comes to an end because at the end of such a period, someone has to pay. You can't just roll it on, because if you don't produce enough goods and services, and that's what keeps the world moving.
Okay.
And if you replace that with printed money, then there'll be Shangri-La. They'll be wonderful. If nobody has to work, and you just print more and more money. But sadly, as I said, history tells us that it have never worked before, and we can take the example of the Roman Empire, and they came to the same situation also. That they needed to print money, and their money printing was, of course, in the silver denarius, replacing the silver by nickel or copper, etc. Right. So the silver content went from 100% to almost 0% in the denarius,
the basement
silver coin, and of course the empire collapsed. Debts and
okay, now here's the real answer that he is stumbling, bumbling, and humbling around. The reason you cannot just print and print and print is because the money loses value. As I say, you print it to death. The dollar ends up worthless. That's why you need the wheelbarrow. That's what Egon should have said if he actually understood. He doesn't understand it. He just goes and looks what happened, but he doesn't really understand why it happened. It happens because if you keep printing, the money loses value. You can't just print and print and print. It's the Titanic. It sinks. If you keep printing the money, it has no value. And you can see that happening now. Now, he's right on producing and manufacturing. That's how a country grows, or a company grows, is by producing goods and then people buy it. That's how a strong economy works. Not by wars, and not by printing money, and not by the selling weapons and having wars. That's not how you grow. And you don't grow by keep printing money and printing money and printing money. You can't. You have to have the economy. That's why there's a certain amount of money you can print and you're okay. But it's based on the economy, making shirts and making glasses and glasses and Canadian Club. That's how the market grows, right? But to just print the money to print the money, to keep paying, and all these options and derivatives that they're doing, it can't last. So this is the problem. That's the answer, Egon. I will put it in his little instructions there. That's what he doesn't get. So he's going, well, the Romans went out. Yeah, they went out because they took all their silver and gold out of their coins, and it left no value. So they basically, if you take the silver and the gold, I like how I have a gold little thing to show you. See how pretty it is? If you take the gold out and the silver out of these, they have no value, right? I mean, it's only valuable because this is 999, a quarter ounce of gold, and this is 1 ounce of silver. It's the only reason that it has the value is the gold and silver. You don't have value. This has no value. This is worthless unless it's backed by gold and silver. So just to print paper and put a number on it does not give it value. That's the problem. So, this doesn't have any money, but because it's backed by the government saying, "Oh yeah, it's worth $1." And basically, if I go to Kroger's, they have to take it. That's how the Ponzi scheme works. They have to take my dollar at the grocery store, at the barbecue, although the barbecue will take the silver. I taught him well, but you go anywhere, shoes, they have to take the money, debit, credit card, whatever. Since they have to take the money, then that's why it has value. But eventually the stores are going to say, fuck off, I'm not taking it. Like in Germany, well, we're raising the prices because we see the value of the money worthless. And you take the wheelbarrow. Now, again, our blockers are the gold and silver, because as the businesses start raising the prices because this has no value, well, they stop because the market says I'm not going to pay. But for like food, you still need to eat, and so as the price goes up because the value is worthless, you won't be able to use this to buy food. However, but you can use this to buy food. You can use this to pay your mortgage or your car payment, or buy gas and buy food and buy clothes. So what you're doing is just switching the money. So this goes a little bit, I was a little disappointed in Egon. He didn't know the answer. That is the correct answer. The value of the dollar goes to zero. That is why you can't keep printing it. So very, very disturbing. This is where these bankers have the shortfall. Alligator's the same, and Mark McGuire pretty much the same. They don't get it. You can't just keep printing it, but they look at it as a banker. Egon was a banker, I believe, and I think Alligator was a stockbroker also, and they just don't understand economics. They don't understand, and that's what I just showed you is economics. The dollar being printed too much loses value. It's supply and demand. It's Say's law. It's Adam Smith, and you got to understand those concepts to understand what she just asked him and what he couldn't answer. It was a shame. Let's listen a few more minutes to Egon.
And of course, then the wars and continued, and then there was civil unrest, and there was misery, and Rome broke up, basically. So it just doesn't work, and don't believe that AI is the solution either. AI will make the world more efficient. Firstly, it's at a massive cost, and we don't know if the world can afford that cost. But secondly, AI is going to actually exacerbate the fall, because fewer and fewer people will have jobs. That's inevitable. The AI is make the world more efficient, and people will not be needed. But the people who are not won't be needed. They're not going to get money from the state or from someone. They are just going to be unemployed and miserable, because they will have no useful purpose. And so the world population will go down, of course, and there will be a few who control this, if they manage to survive, well, but to actually who benefit from AI. But remember, if you don't have consumers buying all the things that you now are making very cheap and attainable for everyone, so then you've actually killed your market with AI. You make everything so efficient and so cheap, and only a few people need to produce it. But who's going to buy it then? Nobody earns any money. So no, it actually doesn't work. So we're actually killing the goose that lays the golden egg here.
Now, I know he's heard that from me because I've said that before. I know he listens. He doesn't tell me he listens, but I do get emails from him, but just corporate, you know. The way Say's Law work is we go to work, we get money, and we spend the money. If we don't go to work and make the money, who is going to spend the money? Who's going to buy the products if nobody has money because nobody's working? So again, that's why gold and silver come in. So as you can see, I haven't worked in a year now, and I'm fine. I got gold and silver. So prices haven't gone up that much. They will, but right now they haven't. And that's the other thing with AI. Now, he says it's more productive. It's not. AI is a Ponzi scheme or a scam. It's not really going to do what they think. You're going to need people to program it, and you're going to need people to review it. Like I was saying, when I was getting this new apartment, a guy at the club told me about, this is where I live. It's cheap and it's close by. And I went over there and I called, and AI answers and said, no, we don't have any, apartments available. So I called and they said, oh yeah, we do. We'll have them. You want to move in May 1st. We just can't sign you up until March 1st, but yeah, we have apartments. Well, they would have lost me as a customer if I call up and AI says, sorry, there's no apartments available. I would have moved on. But talking to the real person, they didn't. Excuse me for 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Okay, so AI, we don't even know if it works. All we know is some computer guy took what Excel does and enhanced it. But you still need a checker. So you can't get rid of everybody to check that AI is working properly. And there's certain questions, like I said with the apartment. If I would have listened to AI, I wouldn't be moving because, or I would have moved somewhere else because they basically would have said, sorry, there's no apartments available. And so I would have said, oh, well, then I got to move. I got to find an available apartment. But for the location and the price I'm paying, it's well worth it. I mean, I'll save three and a quarter a month, which is huge, for nothing. I mean, I got a room. All they are is rooms, right? So I got a bedroom and I got a kitchen and I got a living room, and I moved the table, the couch, and my bed, and off I go. I might get a lazy boy or something. My TV will come. So really, this is just a space, right? So why pay $1,625 for a space when I can pay $1,300 for a space? Same thing. I'm still in it. I'll still cook there, and I'll have a kitchen, and so everything will be the same. It's just a different location, and it's cheaper. So what's wrong with that? It should be a decent neighborhood. I'm not worried about it. I know where I'm going, so yeah, everything's fine. I'm excited about it. But again, AI. If I listened to it, I wouldn't have moved in there. How many other times has AI fucked up? I told you I was going up north to the lake, and I called. I did AI, and it says, "Is the pool open?" Because I wanted the hotel with was the pool open. If not, I wouldn't know it stayed there, and it couldn't answer the question. It says you got to call. So again, AI doesn't do shit. AI is not good. If you think we're going to lay off all the workers and have AI, all these businesses are going to go under. Either A, because AI is full of shit, or B, because there's no customers. So they're cutting off the right hand for the left hand. So in other words, we'll save money with no employees, but then there won't be anybody to buy our goods and services. Now, there's certain things maybe you can use for customer service, maybe. But I got AI for Xfinity, and I wanted to talk to somebody, and I got the number, and I called them, and like when I move in, I think I'll have to turn on my internet or reset it or something. They had to do that when I got my new modem and router from Spectre. I talked to Blofeld, and they had to, oh wait, we got to reset it, and then it worked, because it didn't work when I plugged in the new modem and router. So here we'll see if it works. Hopefully it works, but otherwise I probably have to call and say, okay, turn it on. I can't do that with AI. I don't think so. How's AI going to turn it on? So there's things you need. Like I said, if you're driving a truck, who's going to fill the car? Who's going to fill the truck up or the car up with gas? So that's the other thing. So AI is just because an IT programmer develops something does not mean it works in practice and everything else. You see it in football all the time. Well, look at Anthony Richardson. He ran a 4.1 40. We'll play him at quarterback. No, he probably needs to play wide receiver. But you put him at quarterback based on nothing. He was sucked at Florida. He ran a lot, so he was a good running back playing quarterback like Lamar. How many Super Bowls did Lamar? How many playoff games has Lamar won? Yeah, none, because speed isn't what you need in a quarterback, and you can't measure it at these little what are they, these draft things, and they're measuring how long can he jump. That's immaterial. Football is about getting hit and getting up and reading the defense. So unless you're going to have reading skills and passion, you don't know what the fuck you're drafting. So again, the computers is not the answer. If you think digital money, that's going to be a nightmare. They're going to try to control us. Well, if you hold gold and silver, they can. If you get into the digital world, you're fucked. looking at the value of Bitcoin or OneCoin or any of these Ponzi schemes, you're fucked. I mean, if this, which is real, loses its value, what do you think? Bitcoin, how can it have value? It's not real. It's digital. Digital doesn't work with money. It doesn't work with food. It doesn't work with clothes. I need a shirt. I need real money. I need uh, real food. I can't have a digital steak. I got to have a real steak. I got to have real food. So that's where, again, he does catch the AI, and he heard it from me where I said, who's going to buy your goods? Because he doesn't understand Say's law like he doesn't understand money. He listened to me about inflation where he says it's not prices going up, it's money printing. He didn't say that before until he heard me. I'm sure he's listening to me, but someday he might actually talk to me and give me credit for what he's learning. Because he doesn't look good when he can't answer these basic questions. Why can't we just keep printing money? Then it shows you don't know what you're talking about because it becomes worthless. That's the answer. He kind of says it, but he can't connect the dots that that's what it is. Anyway. So that's EGON. I most of it we already know. Basically buy gold and silver because it's protection, because the dollar will go to that. Hyperinflation, the markets in gold. Now we can listen to a little of that.
When we come to inflation.
Yes, it probably is, but for the ones of us who've been looked at commodity prices compared to stock markets, for example, we now see that quite recently that the S&P 500 has turned up. Gold has turned up against the S&P 500 recently. That means that you could call gold commodities here, and because they're similar for oil and other commodities. But for now, we are now in a situation where things are turning against paper assets for hard assets, and gold shows the way. And therefore, as I said, now we're going to see, I think stock markets, bond markets, and other asset markets will lose 90-95%, and a lot of bond markets will lose 100% against gold in coming years.
Against gold.
A lot of gold, a lot of bond markets or sovereign bonds, etc., will default. They'll be worthless, totally worthless. And that's I can't call it a fact, but that's a very, very high probability that this will happen. So yes, Strait of Hormuz is clearly a catalyst, and it's a catalyst. It's only 20% roughly of the world's oil supply, but then of course you have fertilizers and gas and many other things also. So this is one of the. It could have been the banking system blowing up in the US, for example, which is going to happen also, of course. That's inevitable. So it could have been many catalysts. The Strait of Hormuz is not the reason for this. It's just the catalyst that is actually, as you said, making it happen. It would have happened anyway. There would have been another reason for it, because we are, as I said, that the die is cast. You can't turn around now. So that I'm totally convinced that we are going into this horrible situation for the world, both economically, financially, from a human point of view, and therefore, yes, we will have very tough times. But the economy is collapsing. At the end of an era, you get all the things, all these catalysts just happen one after the other, because they're meant to happen. You could just take, I've been talking about the leadership in the world, especially in the Western world, Europe or North America. And, we have no strong leaders. We have no statesmen at all. And already several years ago, I said the leaders will come and go, and they will leave, and parties also, they will leave long before their period is out, etc., because they'll be.
Okay, so these leaders, what he doesn't explain is they're all chosen by George Soros. George Soros's goal is to bankrupt the world, because Germany lost World War II and he's a Nazi. So he's trying to destroy those who destroyed Germany, which is the US and England and France and, the Allies. So that's why you have such bad leaders, because they're not being elected. They're just being put in by George Soros, and it's all phony. He misses that. He did make sense on the other, what did he say? Like the stock market crashing and the bonds. Well, the reason that all those are crashing because the dollar's worthless, which he misses that point. He does say that it's worthless here, but he knows it's worthless, but he doesn't know how or why. But he just knows, well, the stock market's going to crash. So he hears that and he goes with it, but he doesn't say why. Well, it's because the dollar's worthless and the economy is going to crash because just if you don't have money, you don't have an economy. So it all comes back to money printing, making the value go to zero. And again, prices of oil going up is not inflation. It is just simply prices going up. Surprise, surprise. It's because supply is down. Only when it's Coca-Cola or Oreos and the price is going up that's inflation. And again, it's really the value of the dollar dropping is the inflation part. The hyperinflation is when the panic sets in and everybody runs to buy all the stuff that people are getting hyper about it. That's what hyperinflation is. But yeah, I mean, the stock market's dropping because the dollar's worthless. And Trump's still printing money. And that goes back to our first question. Can't we just keep printing money and printing money? And people are going to lose a lot of money going into the stock market. The bonds are worthless. Who wants to get US dollars? We can't sell treasuries. So it all comes back to you're printing the dollar to zero. Putin said it. It's like it's got the value of a Snickers wrapper. So it's really worth nothing. And so anything priced in dollars, Bitcoin and stablecoin and the stock market and the real estate trust are all going to be worth zero. So your assets go to zero in dollars, but in gold it won't. So gold will then value your house. So we'll kind of indirectly go on a gold standard, or gold will be the reserve currency, because there's nothing else that is limited enough to use. There'll be no trust. I mean, how can you trust either? How can you trust either of these? They're paper backed by nothing. They're worthless. Just like Bitcoin, it's backed by nothing. Oh, it's limited to 21 million. Oh, bullshit that is. They're worthless. They're not, it's not even, at least here I can see what I can at least see, oh, this is what a US dollar looks like. Show me a Bitcoin. You can't. So again, AI is not the answer, and Bitcoin is not the answer. Gold and silver are the answer for the specific reason. You can't print them. You can't inflate them, so they won't lose value. That's why they've been around 5,000 years. His analogy of a guy against, like, we should price gold in cows doesn't work either. Well, it's the same price. No, it's still being functioned by the dollar. So you can't really use that. Because if gold was really where it should be at $20,000 an ounce or $25,000 an ounce, yeah, you can buy a few cows for that, not one cow. So his assumption goes out the window once you look at reality that it's the dollar and COMEX keeping the price down. And his last one is, are you too late for this current bull run in gold? The answer is, of course, no. It's way undervalued, and understand that, and it'll go much higher, but it doesn't even matter. You need it to get out of your dollars is what you need. So you can't hold this because it's not worth anything. So if you have 100,000, you have to get out of it and buy gold and silver. You can't stay in this. It's worthless. Well, I can use it at the grocery because the government forces the grocery stores to do it. Believe me, when I go to the barbecue guy and he's like, do you have silver? You can pay in silver. He's all excited. And I go, I don't want to spend it at this price. I have, but not to be spent at, at $79 an ounce when it's worth, 2,000, 3,000. So I don't want to give it away, but that's the point of it. So because the businesses are forced to take the dollar, they do. But notice they don't take Bitcoin, and they will take silver. So that's EGON's little spiel. They question, why is gold a risk-free asset? Because you can't print it. It's risk-free in the point that the dollar's being printed, it loses value. You can't do that with gold. You can't print gold. They can try with their options, but the physical gold, you can't print it. So that's why there's no risk in gold. It's a lock. It's got to go up in value because it's been suppressed. Just like we looked at today, and it was 70, it was 47.40, which is a joke, but it's suppressed. See how that's the point. So the value is much higher in physical world, not this paper pricing that we're trying to blow up. So there's no risk that it's going to go bad. Will the government confiscate it? I don't think so. They don't think there's as much gold. How are they going to do it? They're not going to knock on your door. And the way they did it before was going to the banks and taking the gold from the banks. Well, my money's not in the banks. It's not in the safety deposit box at a bank or at a government thing. So what they don't know won't hurt them. So no, there's no risk in gold or silver. People will take it. There's huge demand for it. Very limited supply. So the value in a normal world would be at the moon already. But we're getting there. The global debt numbers, yeah, it's not even that. It's just the dollars are worthless. Everywhere in the world, it's the same thing. They're printing money, not backed by anything. So all the dollars are worthless. And then I showed you can't we just keep printing the circus, keep the circus going, printing, and it's no, because the dollar loses its value. And it might not be like here in the US, you might keep printing it and paying for things, but it's the rest of the world. China doesn't want it. Russia doesn't want it. Europe doesn't want it. So it's worthless anywhere else. And then eventually you're going to normally you buy goods and services from other countries. We need wheat. Maybe we buy it from Egypt. And Ukraine gave us a lot of food. So it's going to be more expensive because to buy it, that's what we need. So anyway, that is EGON. Here's the dumbest guy in the world. Why nations are preparing for financial collapse? For the reason I just gave you, because they're printing their money to zero, and they all understand it, and they're going to start with gold. Here's a moron, Steve Henke. This will bankrupt the U.S. We're already bankrupt. What part of the $39 trillion in debt do you not understand that we can't pay back? That's bankruptcy. What a fucking idiot. I kind of watch these 101%. They're setting a trap for gold and silver investors. Again, they're talking paper, not physical. So I don't really. I'll watch it later. But oh yeah, he's saying $38,000 gold is what he's talking. But really, it'll be much higher. Because the dollar loses more value. So it's hard to price gold in dollars. So we're going to get to a point where gold will be gold. Gold will buy you a house. Will it be worth $50,000? it would if the dollar survives, but the dollar probably won't. So the gold will then become the money, and everybody will rush into gold because you need money to buy things to eat. And once you do that, the price, oh, you want my ounce? 50,000. Oh, okay, sure. I need to eat. And that's what'll happen. All right. I did a thing. Let's see. So I won't miss this. I hear the people next door yelling and whatever. And that's what I won't get. There's nobody next door to me at the new place. You go up the stairs, you got a corner. There's a guy across the hall, so I'm not going to hear him. There is a guy, I think, on my one side, but he's on the opposite side, so I don't think I'll hear them. We'll find out. Anyways, it can't be as bad as here. All right, here's two Stoic things. These are about a minute long.
Ever notice how trusting the wrong person always costs you more than you expect? Stoicism teaches us trust is sacred. Once given, it shapes your peace and your future. Let's explore 5 types of people you should never trust. 1. The constant complainer. Their negativity drains your energy and clouds your mind. Don't carry burdens that aren't yours. 2. The promise maker. If they can't keep their word, they'll never honor you. Consistency is the foundation of trust. 3. The excessive flatterer. Fake praise is a silent trap. They use compliments to manipulate, not uplift. 4. The emotionally unstable. Their chaos quickly becomes your storm. Protect your calm at all costs. 5. The boundary breaker. If you don't enforce your limits, they'll consume your time and energy. Respect is non-negotiable. Not everyone deserves your trust. Protect your circle, and your peace will protect you.
All right, so that's that one. And here's one more.
If you truly value yourself, there are things you must stop doing immediately, because self-respect begins the moment you stop betraying yourself. Listen carefully. Here are 4 things you need to stop doing right now if you value yourself. 1. Stop regretting the past. It's gone. You can't rewrite it. Take the lesson and keep walking forward. Regret traps you. Wisdom frees you. 2. Stop worrying about the future. You've survived everything life has thrown at you so far. Trust your strength to handle what comes next. Fear imagines problems that discipline can solve. 3. Stop looking for happiness in other people. No one can build peace inside you. If you don't find it within yourself, you'll keep searching forever. 4. Stop doing too much for people who wouldn't do the same for you. Generosity without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. Eventually, they stop loving your heart and start expecting your hand. And here comes the most important part. Self-respect isn't built by what you give. It's built by what you refuse to tolerate. Choose yourself, and everything in your life begins to change. Ever notice how trust...
And our last one I'm going to show you is John Stossel explaining how bad socialism is.
I fixed my kyphosis and hunchback in just 3 months, thanks to this. Here's exactly what happened.
It's crazy. It's crazy how hard we work and the things that we do. And we're in such a hole.
Prices rise, and people blame capitalism.
It seemed like the landlords, the utility companies, and the streaming services is all jumping us at one time, and we is losing.
So politicians promise to make things more affordable.
I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates.
I'll freeze the rent every year that I'm in office.
free markets are on the ropes now. And it's really important that people step back, look at economic history.
Economist Don Boudreaux argues in this new book that free markets triumph if government mostly leaves them alone. But increasingly, government doesn't. The triumph of...
That's laissez-faire. Leave it alone. Get out of the way. That's Adam Smith. That's the point of laissez-faire. If you just let the businesses run, they got to be competitive. The prices won't go up as long as the supply doesn't go down. So like oil, if you just leave oil alone, the price wouldn't go up because it'll hit what the market will bear. But if you fuck around with the supply and have these wars and do these regulations and all this shit, then you do cause this problem. But normally you're fine with it if you just get the government out. So the government has to be very small, limited, and it's so big it can't afford itself anyway. So it's all blowing up.
Economic freedom. Economic freedom is losing. Republicans and Democrats are voting against it.
Right, but when you look at history, you see that when economic freedom is allowed to flourish, it does triumph.
It does. The American economy has left other countries in the dust. Some politicians once acknowledged that.
Thanks to capitalism, life is better for the vast majority of Americans today than it's ever been.
But now most politicians won't leave capitalism alone. Republicans say we need tariffs. Democrats want to tax the rich more.
Making billionaires pay their fair share.
Neither idea works, says Boudreaux.
The more we abandon free markets, the more we move away from free markets, the worse things become.
As we should have learned from the Great Depression.
Lengthening bread lines, and a whole new class of citizens appears in American society. The new poor.
Today we're told capitalism caused that until government saved America.
A new deal for the American people.
FDR saved America. He created government programs that pulled us out of the Depression.
Well, he created government programs, all right, but they did not pull us out of the Depression. Unemployment in the 1930s never was below 10%.
When farmers complained about low prices, FDR blamed an oversupply of food. His New Deal had a plan for that.
Farmers are paid not to plant, ordering crops plowed under, and millions of acres of wheat, cotton, corn are left unplanted.
People were hungry and they were destroying food. How is that good?
It raised prices. Farmers wouldn't go bankrupt.
People can't eat prices. They have to eat food. And FDR was destroying food.
They're plowing up cotton instead of picking it down Dixie way as a part of President Roosevelt's stupendous program.
Stupendously stupid to reduce supplies in a depression when people don't have enough supplies to consume.
Destroying 9 million acres of the fluffy stuff.
They were slaughtering chickens, burning crops.
Everybody was starving, the depression, but they wouldn't let you eat any of those cattle.
FDR's other solutions included higher taxes on the rich and more regulation of business, proposals we hear today.
By introducing these new unprecedented programs, the New Deal made investment in America a very risky project. And so that kept private investors on the sideline.
Why would they be on the sideline?
Because they're scared of what's going to happen to their property.
The old enemies of peace, business and financial monopoly, speculation, reckless banking.
FDR is out on the hustings criticizing business people and blaming business people for all that ails America. Those same business people were saying, well, okay, I'm not going to trust my property to you.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
Government officials who are responsible for the Great Depression, blaming businesses for the evils that were wrecked on the American economy by those same politicians.
United America declares war on Japan. Some say what finally ended the Depression was America entering World War II. That's a myth too, says Boudreaux.
Unemployment fell, but that's not hard to do when you conscript 2.5 million men into the military. But if you look at the actual performance of the economy, that didn't recover until the late 1940s.
And it recovered because...
Two reasons, basically. The Republicans surprisingly won the 1946 election, and they were more pro-investor, pro-business than were the Democrats. And Harry Truman was just much less vigorously opposed to capitalists as FDR had become by the end of the Depression. And so investors were finally confident to come back into the playing field.
70 years later, politicians created the Great Recession by subsidizing mortgages.
Help people realize the dream of owning their own home.
We want more people owning their own home.
Owning a home is good.
If you can afford it. But what the government did was impose policies that made homeownership seem affordable to people who couldn't afford it and compel banks to back those mortgages. But these were mortgages being pushed on people who really couldn't afford them. And so when things went down, when things went south, you had this huge calamity in the financial system.
Falling home prices and rising unemployment.
Politicians blame the new crisis on an unregulated free market.
The absence of a working regulatory regime over many parts of the financial system.
It's one of the great fallacies that deregulation led to the Great Recession. There was very little deregulation.
Another similarity between the two downturns was how presidents talked about business.
Corporations aren't people.
Economic royalists.
It's no coincidence that one reason the Great Recession lasted as long as it did is because Barack Obama was likewise saying hostile things about markets and about business people.
If you got a business, that you didn't build that.
Those negative words
Sure
from the
you
White
did.
House kept investors on the sidelines, kept unemployment higher than it would otherwise have been.
It wasn't just talk. There were policies to match.
We expanded unemployment benefits, a measure that's already made a difference in the lives of 12 million Americans.
Yeah, well, it did. It kept them unemployed for a lot longer.
Because of all these programs?
Yeah, because people were being paid not to work.
So have people learned from history? No. Today, people again claim capitalism is the problem.
You can't complain about these prices being high and then say that you're a free market capitalist.
It's really just the effect of corporate capitalism.
They don't know what they're talking about. They should read my and Phil Graham's book because we explain that free markets in the past have worked pretty well and that the government solutions to whatever problems existed actually made things worse.
Free markets do work if politicians will just let them. If we don't learn from history.
There you go. So that's the real truth, not the bullshit they tell you. So capitalism works, as I've said. It's the market. Is there a supply is there demand? I'm going to make it. It doesn't work when you bring up electric cars and nobody wants it. That's called idiots. Or the government raising taxes never works because what do they do with them? They steal the money and then it takes money out of the economy. So you want very low taxes. If really you don't want any taxes, we shouldn't be penalized for being productive and making money, especially the rich. The rich are the ones you should never tax, because they're the ones who own the companies and they're the ones who hire the employees. Hopefully they don't get a little bit too much and hire a bunch of AI people. And then when their company goes broke, then what are they going to do? Cry to the AI people? Or are they going to lay off the AI people? And I'm wondering how much AI is going to cost. It's not free. So what are you going to pay? Like, you're going to pay a maintenance to this, whatever, NVIDIA or whoever, is going to get the maintenance thing because AI is not going to work. So you're going to, oh, hey, we need you to come in and program it. And they're still going to need people to review what AI does to make sure 2 and 2 is 4 and AI says it's 5 and we got a problem. And then you're going to have to reprogram it. It's going to cost the businesses a lot more money than they think, but you're taking all these people out of the economy and nobody's going to buy your goods and services anyway, because AI, as we see in Terminator, doesn't have money and isn't going to buy your stuff. And you'll be back. So that's kind of what happened. Let's take a look at our gold and silver. Now it's 12:40, so we should be away from the 10 o'clock drop. I love how you got to wait 2 hours for the 10 o'clock drop to happen. And we are at 47.32. Again, it's very low. And again, look at when Europe and America get it, it just goes down, down, down. Why is that? Well, probably because they need money for the higher gas prices because of the shortage of gas for them. For us, we don't really have a shortage of gas. It's coming out. And then we're at 77.81. I don't know how that's up 143. you know, because if you look the other day, it was at 70, it was at 80. So again, just more bullshit. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. And Bitcoin is at 78,000. So it's moving. If you buy it, you're a sucker. All right. So 47, 32, 77, 77. Okay. That's good. Let's check the market. I love how I looked the other day and it was up, and you're like, based on what? Based on the government printing money and putting it in the market? And it's at 49,429. We saw it at 45,000. This number is pure bullshit. The stock market is like worthless. Don't get scammed by the scammers. This is not a real price. This is the government's printing money. It's not a market, right? We want a free market, but you're not getting the free market. So keep that in mind. I got to go to Best Buy and see what the fuck's wrong with my phone. It's only my email. It's or my Google. It's not like I can still be on Telegram, and WhatsApp works and YouTube works. So it's not. It's just more the internet that's a little fucked up. So I gotta see what's going on. And my buddy Paul, I will read your email later. So that's what we have again, but we understand what's reality. Paul keeps asking me, "Do you believe everything you read or see?" And I go, "I don't believe anything. I figure it out." What Stossel said, I absolutely agree with. What Egon was saying, I corrected where he doesn't understand it. So I don't. I have my own triggers, and I believe what I believe. And that, that's how I look at it. I don't believe necessarily, like if I hear something from Trump, I don't believe any of it. Anything from CNBC or Fox, I don't believe any of it. So no, I'm not gullible and I'm not stupid. So in my realm, I know. Now, even medical, I mean, I don't believe my doctor, but I do listen to our guy, Dr. Enberg, the holistic doctor, but he explains it. He's on the whiteboard. Well, this is this, and this is how it goes. So I believe it because he's proving himself what he's saying. Could you imagine the Scott Simpson proving the Treasury Secretary? Well, we're going to print more money, and that'll stimulate the economy. All right, show me how you printing the money to zero will stimulate any economy. And again, you can hold the gold and silver prices down based on your options. And like I say, 76 million tons of paper silver versus 1.2 million and 4.4 million tons of gold versus 200,000. And you tell me how those are real numbers. There's no way 76 trillion versus 1 trillion is going to give you the price of the 1 trillion. Because it's based on supply and demand. If we have very small supply, the price has to go up. But where are you getting 70? So you're just printing 76 million, which goes against what this lady's saying. Can't we just keep printing and printing? And that's what eventually it's good for the buyer. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So it's good for the buyer because you're able to buy silver at what, $78, and it's probably worth $1,000 or $2,000, really, at least, probably more. But you get it in your mind, it's only worth 78. First, you got it in your mind it was only worth 25 and could never get to 50. And now we're at 78, waiting for this to go to 100, and the struggle's on. I assume it's for the missiles they want. They need a lot of silver for that. But sorry, you can't just hold it because you want to buy something. Eventually, China is buying the shit out of it. They're still buying the shit out of gold and silver. They're going right to the mines and getting the dory. But the yen will not be the reserve currency, or the yuan. I think it's the yuan in China, the yen's in Japan. It won't be the reserve currency. This is the reserve currency. This is always the reserve currency. You might ignore it now because we're on the US dollar and all that bullshit. At the end of the day, where's everybody going? This is the reserve currency. You can't print it. You cannot therefore inflate it. It can therefore not lose value. So when you see this bullshit on COMEX and it's down, it goes down $100. That's fantasy. That's not real. That's paper. That's let's print 4 million tons, even though there's only 200,000 available, of which 90% of it's already in BRICS between China, Russia, and India, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Brazil. I've already bought it. And what they haven't bought, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and people like us have already bought. There's not a lot left, but there's no scorekeeper. So the thing is, you don't see that this is worthless, and you don't see the real value of this except for in COMEX. And you're not even seeing this, you're seeing the paper price it. So let's do some options, JP Morgan, and we'll price gold, which is bullshit. That whole thing should be blown up. It's totally illegal and immoral to come out and sell things you don't own. Hey, I'm going to sell a million tons of silver. 76 million, 77 million. Oh, I don't really have it. I'm just going to sell it. How are you going to sell it? Isn't the person going to want it? Well, no, they're going to want paper. They're going to want money for it. They're not actually going to take delivery of it. Now they are. China wants delivery of that. I don't have it. It's a Ponzi scheme. I don't really have the million tons. I'm just controlling the price. And so China gets pissed off, and then you got to pay them. China, you can't just leave alone. I watch Jack Bauer. I see what the Chinese can do. You can't just fuck with China and Russia and not pay them. So this will be very interesting how this ends. But there's basically everybody wants physical, and you don't have it. And they're still doing this COMEX bullshit. And it's very frustrating because we know gold and silver are worth much more than they show. And we don't see where the 76 million tons is when there's only 1 million. And we don't see this 4.4 million tons of gold when there's only 200,000 tons or 220. It's a joke. We understand it. It's like cheating. At the end of the day, they get caught like Harbaugh, and it'll be meaningless. And we'll see it go. Too many people realize that these are worthless. The Russians and the Chinese realize these have no value, and eventually they're not going to take it. So U.S. is going to want to buy stuff from China, and they're going to say no. And we don't buy anything from Russia because we've got the sanctions. And then we don't, the euro's worthless. And that's where it's going to show, is when we try to spend our money in Europe and nobody wants it. Oh, US dollars? No. And then the banks will collapse, and the stock market will collapse, and the bond market will collapse. And then you'll really see the nightmare, because people will start pulling their money out of the stock market. I believe they already have. But it doesn't matter, because the government, the Treasury, prints all this money and puts it into the stock market. Say, look, it's good. Our economy is good. Look at our stock market. Not correlated. It doesn't mean anything. Well, we had NVIDIA. Well, I'll buy NVIDIA and Tesla, and that. Look, it'll push the market up. So 2 stocks, but the other 5,000 are worthless, and it's a nightmare. So if you understand what's going on, you know what to believe, you know what to trust. Does it make sense? So it's like poker. Does the bluff make sense? Well, wait a minute. The 2 of diamonds on the river, and he's betting, $40,000, and he didn't bet before. Does that make sense? Does he want me to call? That bet doesn't want me to call. if you would just look at poker like that, does the bet make sense? If he had a real good hand, he'd want me to call. He's probably bluffing 99 times out of 100 when you see the big bet. But people totally misread it and they go, oh, the big bet. Oh, he must have a real big hand. And I don't have that big of a hand, so I'm going to fold. Well, wait a minute. But he hasn't been betting. And then if he did have 4 aces, would he really make a big bet like that? Wouldn't he bet a smaller bet so I would call? Because if he makes that big bet, I'm not going to call unless I have, 5 aces or whatever. So that's the key to it, right? Would he make that bet with a strong hand? Wouldn't he want a call? And you notice as you're playing with the person at the table, you would notice when he has the big hand, what he normally bets. He normally bets a little bit to get a call. I mean, that's what I do. I might, in my game, it's 1-3, no limit. I'm playing a couple $100 and, I got a full house. I'm going to bet $50 and I hope you call. So if you see me put 200 out there, you'd go, oh, no. You don't put 200 when you got a big hand. You're bluffing. You do it once in a while. You change gears, but normally you're going to, I want your call for $50. And we'll see what happens. But anyway, I make more money in gold and silver now, so I don't have a desire to play poker. Maybe after the move. So I'm pretty much done. I just mopped everything except that I got to mop the kitchen, and the carpet had a stain, so I'm trying to clean it with the mop, and the mop breaks. The sponge came off, so I got to go buy a new mop. Unbelievable. Anyway, I got to clean the shower. The bathrooms are all done, and the kitchen, I swept. I just have to mop it. The front I've mopped. Everything's mopped, pretty much cleaned, vacuumed. So I'm ready. I'm just about ready to go. And that'll be it. And then I got these little things I got to throw and buy. I keep finding these little things like my fan, and I'm like, oh, do I box that? I'll just throw it in my trunk or whatever. Anyway, so that's a week from Friday. It's slowly getting here. A week from Thursday, I got to get the cashier's check, take my Spectre internet back to the place and turn it in here. And that'd be it. So we will see. So I'm looking forward to it. Certainly won't have anybody above me. I was talking to the maintenance yesterday about the troublemaker who was above me. And they said they hated him too, and that they wanted him to leave. And he just left. His lease wasn't up. I didn't think it was because he moved in July, and his lease he left like April 1st or April 2nd. He left, and they were glad. And they said he moved in. I said, he better not be moving where I'm moving. He said, no, he moved into a condo. And but they hated him. And the problem with, if you have a real barking dog, you have to live in a house. You can't have a barking dog in an apartment. You can have a dog who doesn't bark. And then they said he complained a lot. I don't know about what, but he was always complaining. And so they were tired of it because you're creating work. I only complained about him. I don't really complain much. With my sink, it's plugged. They kind of unplugged. They don't know what they're doing. So if I put too much, because I put olive oil in my pan and I cook, and then I empty the pan into the sink as I should. And it's kind of plugging the garbage disposal. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And that's all I bother them with. Hey, my sink's not working. But anyway, so I waited till my lease was up, so I don't owe them anything. And my next rent payment goes to the other place, $300 cheaper, which I'm happy to do that. Daria is still blocked in Russia. They have blocked Telegram. They have blocked WhatsApp and her VPN. I just use Spectrum now, and I'll use Xfinity. So it's kind of a different like I got a cable company and she's got VPNs, so she's got to buy VPNs. And it's hard because I can't hear from her. I tried emailing her today, but I don't know. And we will see. But that's what's going on with her. So anyway, that's about it. We're about 2 hours, so just don't panic. Gold and silver is your only option. You haven't missed it. If it's a little expensive, go buy like I did. This is a quarter ounce. It's $9.99. It's Credit Suisse. Quarter ounce fine gold, $9.99. Not a problem. This is gold, absolutely. And you can see how shiny it is, but it's real. Again, just because it says $9.99, it could be a fake, but this you can see the color so bright that it is gold, and the same with silver. 99% of the time, this is real, and it's got the 1 ounce $9.99 fine silver. It depends where you get it from. If you're on eBay and you see some of these Chinese guys fucking with you saying, oh, it's only $40 for the $80 silver, it's fake right off the bat. And they probably use nickel instead of silver. It might be a little silver. It's probably like 50% silver and 50% nickel, which is why they're selling it at 40. But just think, if I had, okay, this is real, it's 1 ounce. 1 ounce is going for $90. Well, why would I sell it for 45 unless I'm out of my mind? I need the money. Well, it's still going to sell very easily. So keep that in mind. That's it. So next Friday I move at 9, and then I'll come back, fill up the car again, and the movers will be here about noon. So I will not be on next Friday. I will be on Thursday as I'm at the final. I'm like the Amazing Race, the final. Let's talk psychology in the Amazing Race. So I've been watching this. It's on Pluto, and I watched then they have like 10 years of it, or I don't know, 10 years, but 10 episodes, 25, 26, 27. So I've been watching it a little, really studying the psychology, and these teams want to form like a team, like I'll be friends with you and you'll be friends. So I don't know what game they're playing. You're in a race. I can't imagine a football game. Well, we're winning 31-0. Let's let the other team score a little bit. Let's keep it competitive. Which is probably what you guys think happens anyway, especially in basketball, that it's fixed. But they'll form alliances. That's the word I was looking for. So like yesterday I was watching, and there was 5 teams in an alliance. But then they start screwing, as it gets down to 5, now they start screwing it. And so this one team was strong, and they lost to this other team who was weaker, and they fucked up, because this is the problem with the alliance. You don't want to be in alliance with them. You don't want to help them. Let them get frustrated, and let them not be able to figure out a clue, and let them sit all day trying to figure out the clue. I mean, there was one, they had to scroll down a wall, and they were in Berlin as far as I'll play, and there was letters on the ground, and they had to figure out, it wasn't a word, it was just the letters that made the world. And the word was sauerkraut, but it didn't say sauerkraut. Let these guys sit for 8 hours trying to figure out the fucking what the letters are. I mean, one guy didn't even know there was letters. And then they help him out. What are you doing? This is your competition. So instead of just, I figured it out and I'm going to move on, they help everybody else. And you're helping your competition, and they ended up losing. I don't believe in the Amazing Race you want to be in an alliance. I think that's more Survivor, which I haven't watched in 50 years. But that's the point of, you don't want to be in an alliance. You want to, like, why would I be in an alliance to help people bet football games? I'm the master. I don't want to be in an alliance. I'll pick it. I'll beat you because I'm the best at it. Or understanding gold and silver. I don't want to be in an alliance. if you're really good at something, you don't want to be in alliance. Why would I want to help people who could then beat me? Because eventually, as they get eliminated, now you're down to 3 teams. Well, you didn't pick the right 3 teams to go against. The one team beat you. That should have been out of the race if you didn't help them. And let the weaker people die. Don't keep them involved. And you would have won. You would have won the race if you didn't fuck around. But you did fuck around. You kept other people who were weaker involved, which is kind of socialism, and you end up getting bitten. So I don't understand these teams with the alliance. You're the best team, just go. And you know, the one team got they kind of fucked them over. Once they got to 5, they fucked over this one team. There was 4, and the 3 knew the answer, and they didn't tell the 4th team, and the 4th team got fucked. Well, my point was the 3 teams should not have been helping each other. At that point, I would not be helping you. So I'm helping you solve the riddle that if I don't help you, you'll never get it. And if you never get it, how frustrated are you going to be if you even finish the leg and then you won't beat me? Let the teams get frustrated. You want that. You want them spending a day trying to figure out a puzzle. You don't want to just help them. Oh, here the puzzles. Here, sauerkraut. Yeah, let them go down the building and not see the letters or not understand the letters. Let them do that for 6 hours, and then let them keep competing. They're going to get frustrated and tired. And that's what you want. You want to wear them out. You don't want to sit there and hand feed them and help them. Socialism. Well, let me give you unemployment, or let me give you, money to help you eat. And then you don't look for a job because you're getting unemployment. Social Security is different. I paid into this. I want my money back, and I shouldn't be taxed on it. But when the government helps you with welfare, you don't look for work, you're getting paid, and you go with that. And like Alyssa told me, oh, I got $8,000 from the government. I'm like, okay, so you're not going to be working and you're going to live off of them and you're fucked. And she doesn't understand it. All she sees is the money. So that's what you get with this. You don't want to help. That's what it is about. The strong takes out the weak. That's what you should do. Now, I try to help the weak get strong is what I'm doing. I'm explaining gold and silver so you understand it. I explain football so you pick and you win money and you get strong, and then you actually understand what I'm doing because I'm stronger. I'm in the strong position being the professor. So you are down here and I'm trying to get you up to me. That's the whole point of this. And I do it in gold and silver and inflation and markets. And I do it with football and basketball and baseball. When you get to my level, I'm happy for you. I'm not trying to keep you down like most guys do. Most of these guys on YouTube, especially gold and silver, are idiots. They're down here and so I'm up here and the viewers down here and Jim Rickards is down here. Who's he talking to? I got the low guy. So Jim Rickards is here and I'm up here. This is why I bitch all the time, because these guys, I'm here and I know what they're saying because I'm at this level and they don't have a clue what they're saying. They don't understand what inflation. Well, prices are going to go up. There's going to be inflation because of oil. No, there's not. That's not inflation. That's prices going up because the supply is down. Gold's going up because the demand's there. That is not inflation in either situation. John C., how are you today? So this is the point. You're coming on late, John C. I'm about to leave. So that's the point. So what inflation keeps everybody down, right? You got $1 million and then we inflate and then the value of the money goes down to here. And we go down to there, except if we have gold and silver. So what you're doing is here's you and here's the money. And then they're printing the money and the money's going down, down, down. And I say, Rumpelstiltskin, take your money and turn it into gold and silver. And now you're here. So gold and silver and you stay here while the money is down here. And that's where we're at now. The money is worthless, but the gold and silver is here. So I tell you to buy a Mano card, it'll keep you here. Buy a Rolex, will keep you here. Buy the Picasso, will keep you here. Mostly it's going to be gold and silver because we can't take the others. I can't take the Mano into a restaurant and grocery store, but I can take the gold and silver. So basically what you want is mostly gold and silver, but that keeps you up here. Where am I? That keeps you here. The dollar is losing all its value. That's what inflation is this losing its value? But you're up here and you're going, what the fuck just happened to me? I was here with my money and now I got $1 million and now you're telling me it's here? Yeah, that's what's happening, but nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to listen to it. So we're up here with gold and silver. We stay here. Our dollar doesn't lose. And in fact, because it's gold and silver has been suppressed, our gold and silver is up here. So our dollar's here going down. We buy gold and silver, and not only does it stay, it goes up because it's been suppressed. So we're here, our gold and silver is up here, and our dollar is down there. And that's it. That's in a nutshell exactly what's happening. And no, you can't keep printing something. If you do, it'll go to zero. I'm surprised by that question that she asked it, and I'm even more surprised. I think it was a rhetorical question, like she knew it was bullshit. But I was surprised Egon couldn't answer it. He knew what had happened, but he couldn't give you the why. So I gotta next time I get an email from Egon, I'm gonna answer it for him very abruptly. Like, I thought you knew this, Egon. You're fucking trying to come off as an economist, and you're an idiot. So you should know why you can't keep printing. So I will next time I get an email from him. We'll respond that way. It's from the the Switzerland golden money thing. It's not actually from Egon, but I'm sure he reads it. But that's the whole point, and that's what nobody understands. Nobody understands that your money is down to here now. And when I yell at people about, hey, your money's down here and you're up here, you're getting fucked, nobody wants to believe it. Oh, how could my $1 million be worthless? Because it is. Well, and this is what I explained to Luke when he wants to buy stocks. Even if you make money and you have your million, it's still down here. That's why you don't want to buy stocks now, because it will go down. I'm going to make a lot of money when my stock goes up, when gold goes up. But it's in money. It's worthless. You're getting nothing. What are you doing? What are you thinking about? That's why you don't own stocks. Bonds will never get paid back. It'll be worthless. So if you do, okay, I'm going to do a 5-year bond. I'm going to give them 20 grand and get 4%. And after 5 years, your money's worth this. In the end, the 4% is worthless, and your $10,000. I think I said 10. Your $10,000 worth zero. Or you could have bought gold and silver, and it would be up here. So go buy bonds. And by the way, you'll never get paid back because we have a $39 trillion debt, which we can never pay back. If they could, the only way out would be to get a bunch of gold and reprice gold at 100,000 an ounce and get tons of gold that equal $40 trillion and pay it off. But don't tell me there's gold in Fort Knox, but we're not using it. So we'd rather pay $1 trillion or almost $1.5 trillion in interest every year. That's sound economical thing. Are you insane? I mean, that can't be right. You don't want to pay that. So that is the problem. It's people just don't understand. It says $1 million, but they don't see. They thought $1 million was worth this, but $1 million's really down here. And this is what people can't get. Well, I got all this money, but it has no value. It's worthless. But gold and silver have value and have actually gone up from what, $25 silver is now $80 silver. Oh, wait a minute, that went up, but the dollar went down. But people aren't seeing the real price of dollar. Oh, the dollar strengthened versus the euro. Oh, wonderful, but it's still worth nothing. And so is the euro. And that's really the protection you have, is that you keep this where you need it, and it actually goes up in gold and silver. in the stocks or Bitcoin, you're down here. So keep that in mind. And again, they're all manipulated prices by the government, just printing phony money to say, hey, look, the stock market's 48,000. Yeah, whippy. And unless it's, it's all in NVIDIA or Tesla, and I don't get Tesla. They did an IPO for Starlink or something, or who the fuck cares? I don't trust Elon Musk with satellites or anything. Nobody wants their cars because nobody wants electric because nobody asked for it. Does anybody ask for Starlink satellites? I doubt it. Maybe the government did, but I'm not. I had an option maybe to get Starlink internet, but I chose Xfinity. I'm not taking anything Elon Musk does. I don't trust him at all. But anyway, so that's what it is. So again, basketball tonight, I'm going under with both games. Detroit under 218.5, Oklahoma under 215.5. Based on what I'm seeing in the playoffs, it's a much more defensive game, the better defense. But they haven't adjusted the totals yet. Baseball, we have a lot going. The Yankees under 7.5. Rangers Suarez and Max Fried, perfect pitching matchup. 3 units, Minnesota against the Mets. The Cubbies against Philly, 3 units. California, 3 units. And the rest are 2. St. Louis over. Cleveland over. Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Atlanta are the 2-unit play. Oh, also Colorado under 12.5 and the 49ers over 7.5 against the Dodgers. So the big lock, the Yankees, beautiful pitching matchup. Be lucky to get 3 runs in the game, and the total 7.5. So thank you. And they're just looking at the ERAs, but Ranger Suarez had a bad game when he started, and now he's pitching shutouts. And Fried had a bad game, but he's not anymore. So that's it. So have a good day. Enjoy. I'm trying to get you to my level so you understand what's going on. So when you listen to Andy Scheckman, you just kind of laugh at him like this guy's an idiot. Or Jim Rickards or any of these other boobs. Totally don't understand. Oh, inflation's, as soon as you hear inflation's going up, you turn it off because everything else coming out of the mouth is idiots. Inflation is not going up. Inflation's huge. It's massive. You printed $200 trillion. Inflation's through the roof. It's not going up. It'll go a little bit more because you got to print more and you got to pay the interest on the debt. So you got to keep printing. So it will go up a little, but it has nothing to do with oil. It's got nothing to do with gold. It's just that the dollar has no value. But at what point does zero go negative? If the dollar's worth zero now, how can inflation go up? Because it can't go to negative. The money's worth zero. It can't go to negative 100. So keep that in mind. All right, I might eat. I don't know. I fasted yesterday. My foot's been bothering me, and I'm really pissed. So if I don't eat anything, my foot should clean up. And a little bit. It's hard when I wear shoes. It kind of swells up. I took a walk yesterday, and it swelled up. The pool's closed till Monday, so I missed that. Just to get out, and then I get my good hour workout in. I'm getting confused. My stomach is bigger, but it's muscle because I do these exercises in the pool. So I keep thinking, God, I look heavy. And then I realize, no, I'm still kind of flat. It's just the muscle has toned up a lot more than it was. So anyway, that's about it. So I got to go buy a mop and mop my kitchen, and I don't have to do it today. I do need gas, which I'll probably go today before prices go up. And outside of that, that's about it. Have a wonderful day. Just enjoy. Buy your gold and silver. You can relax. You have nothing to worry about. They can't print it to death because you can't print gold and silver. Make sure you buy it from a reliable store who you trust is giving you real gold. Bring a magnet. If it sticks, then tell the guy to fuck off and leave. But basically, that's the key. And, that's all you're looking for. Doesn't stick. That's 99% of it. And, the thing with the gold is, and then I'm going to leave, is look at the color of it. You can't fake that. You've got to make this with real gold, and that's the color of real gold. The only time occasionally you don't get it is when you look at the older Cougarans. It doesn't look sharp gold. They used other ingredients, but it's still 1 ounce of gold. It's 1 ounce of gold with like a little bit of nickel and a little bit of zinc, and it makes the color get off. If you look at a maple leaf, it's 24 karat, it's 100% gold. They don't use anything in their gold, so you got to be careful about scratching it. But so when it's a little bit off, as long as it says it's 1 ounce of gold, that's all you're concerned about. This is 1 ounce, but it's 0.7, it's 18 karat, which means it's 75% gold, 25% of the other metals, because you got to make the jewelry, you're always going to put something else besides gold in it. So when it's 18 karat, it's 3/4 of an ounce of gold. Even though it's 1 ounce, it's 3/4 of it's gold. The other quarter is whatever nickel, copper, whatever else they used in it. So I will leave you with that. Good luck today. Enjoy your day. If you're betting the sports, go ahead. If you're playing poker, be careful of the bluff. It's very easy to read. It's a bet bigger than normal to move you out. And always think about it. Well, wait a minute. Don't you want to? If you don't want to call, you're bluffing. Because if I want to call, I'm going to make a decent sized bet, but I'm going to make a bet and conglomerate with what I've been betting. So you call it. So if I'm betting 20, a bluff would be 200. But if I bet 65, I want to call. So if I bet 200, you're like, you don't want to call. You're bluffing. Now, once in a blue moon, you actually make the bet. So it looks like a bluff once in a blue moon. But that depends who you're playing and how good his cards are. So if I hit a full house and this guy hit the flush, I might make a big bet to look like a bluff because I think he's got a big hand, but I have the full, I'm not bluffing. And so he might call that or think it's a bluff. It's when they have a big hand that you want to make that bet, and then they think you're calling. They think you're bluffing. And I will leave you with that. So have a good day, everybody. www.tjking.com. Good luck on the baseball. Good luck on the basketball. And good luck on your gold and silver. Have no worries. It can only go up in real terms, in physical. In the physical world is what we're looking at. All right. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your day.